Welcome to our Talks to Anthony. Today we're going to have a insightful conversation. For those who are new to the channel, we make mental health conversation content that's going to be beneficial to your personal development in addition to your well-being, right? But in today's conversation, we're going to be talking about what emotional capacity actually means, right? So just because something matters to you doesn't mean that you have the emotional capacity to handle it right now, right? So I really want to take in consideration because some of us may get a call, and I mean somebody be asking you for a favor to do something, right? Do a task, and then you'll drop everything that you got going on to accommodate that person, right? I ain't gonna tell you to be a good person, be a bad person, right? You know what I mean? Like, you have the ability to make those rational decisions for yourself, but I really want us to understand about that emotional capacity, right? Just like a gas tank, we have the empty for E, we have full for full capacity, right? Everybody's needs, everybody's gonna be at where they're gonna be at, right? So I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, I just really want you to take in consideration because I'm not telling you what to do, right? But I want you to make the proactive decision for yourself and for your wellness, right? So let's talk about some normalization in regards to reducing some self-judgment, because like I said, you're not the only one that's going through this, right? So most people assume capacity is about their motivation or their willpower. When it comes to tasks, it can feel overwhelming, and sometimes we even can tie into blaming ourselves for this sense of overwhelmingness, right? In addition to that as well, emotional capacity fluctuates based on stress, responsibilities, sleep, health, and life circumstances, right? So everybody's needs are going to be different. Everybody's capacity is going to be different. Everybody's energy, right? So we have to be able to, like I said, look at what's on your plate, look at what your priorities are, look at what's doable for you, right? And then, go based off of what makes sense to you, right? So having a limited capacity doesn't mean that you're weak, doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean that you just, you're not with the program, right? It means that you're a human, right? So everybody's different, right? Everybody's genetics, everybody's capacity, energy levels, etc. is going to be different, right? And I really want us to take that in consideration, even for those that have a disability, for instance, right? You only could do what you could do. You only could work at your capacity, right? So don't try to overcompensate and do more and put yourself to the limit, right? Because I don't want you to be tore from the floor up, right? I don't want you dealing with this overwhelming stress factors and all these cortisol rushing through your body, right? I want you to be able to have a neutral, kind of balanced out state of mind. And by having this self-awareness and having this discussion, it's going to be able to have us, be where we need to be at ease, right? So when it comes to psychoeducation, to kind of give us more insight and education, right? So emotional capacity is about the ability to process, manage, and respond to life's demands. Like I said, everybody's emotional space and capacity is going to look different. In addition to that, capacity isn't fixed, right? So it changes from day to day. Like I said, life fluctuates. Every day is not going to be Candyland, right? So it's not going to be sweet, right? But we have to be able to, like I said, look at your capacity, look at your flow, look at, your sleep capacity, what's really going on with you and your health, right? So when capacity is low, small tasks could even feel overwhelming, right? It could be something so small to do, right? You could just said, well, one thing I'm gonna do today is vacuum the house, and you got to get to that, right? And you couldn't even get finished or complete the task because you're so overwhelmed, right? Everybody's capacity is different. That's why it's really important to break things down in small, manageable like tasks or goals, right? So and then really looking at like where you at in regards to your energy, right? When it comes to energy drinks, when it comes to caffeine, when it comes to all these things, right? You can, push yourself, but I don't want you to push yourself, right? I really want you to look at your actual natural state of your capacity and doing what's going to be beneficial for you to be able to, do whatever the task is or whatever your priorities are, right? But I really want us to understand and be realistic with ourselves by kind of having that self-awareness, right? So core insight in regards to the question isn't right. What's wrong with me? Why can't I do anything? Why can't I, get back to get back? I used to be able to do this before, but what happened to me, right? It's not about that. Have a more compassionate mindset, right? What am I carrying right now? What's going on, right? Do I need more sleep? Right? Do I need to start eating better? Right? Do I need to, talk to a doctor, talk to a nutrition, talk to a therapist? So do I need to kind of get things off my chest? Right? What's holding me down? What's holding my capacity? Really? What's really going on with me? Right? And like I said, by journaling, developing, this internalized time for yourself, this intentional time for yourself to be able to have the self-awareness, be able to be more intuitive with yourself is going to be able to help you derive some of these things of, what's going on with you. But at the same time, too, talking to a professional can be definitely beneficial as well, right? Moving forward, I want to talk about some positive, practical reframing in regards to how we're able to implement looking at things a little bit more differently in regards to our capacity, right? So first key point is instead of expecting the same output every day, right? Being on 10, pushing, right? Assess your current capacity. Where I'm at right now. What is something I can do to kind of get myself to the get by? How can I be able to implement more self-care, right? What can I do to improve my situation, right? Because I really want to take in consideration, right? Because every day we're not going to be on 10. Every day we're not going to be able to have that capacity, right? Our mood is going to fluctuate, it's going to shift. But if we're able to have some type of assessment. We're able to really look at our behavior, right? Journaling, right? Having proactive conversations, right? Doing the things that we're going to be doing for ourselves to be able to avoid that burnout prevention, right? Could be beneficial for us as well. So matching expectations to available energy is going to be best suited for us. Really seeing where we're at right now. I may not have the energy to do all these other things, but I can do what I can do in regards to facilitating what the priorities are for that situation, making things more manageable, making more things ideal for ourselves, right? So focus on, like I said, what is more realistic for you, not, you know what I mean, focusing on overcompensating the situation or whatever the tasks are, right? Capacity awareness helps prevent unnecessary guilt and that burnout. Like I said, I don't want you to be tore up from the floor up. I don't want you to, you know what I mean? And I want to be transparent with you, right? For those out there that have been tore up from the floor up, that have been down bad, you know what I mean? Every situation is different, but just stick with me, right? Is that it could take you time to find yourself again, right? And I don't want you to kind of go through that whole spiral, right, of that confusion, right? And if necessary, it is what it is. You know what I mean? You'll get back to the get back. But like I said, let's really avoid this burnout prevention by really taking care of ourselves and having days we're able to, like I said, have this self-reflection. So we're able to understand our capacity, right? So some days you may have the capacity on that full tank, like I said, for that gas tank, right? And other days your capacity may, you know, you may be moving one step at a time, right? Just kind of get through, right? So both do count because you're showing up for yourself, you're providing that effort, right? You're still what? You're still trying, right? That's really what matters. But I also want to take into consideration, right, our capacity. And also too, what can we do about this, right? So boundaries, right? So sometimes, you know what I mean, maybe that's necessary to say, no, I can't do that, or I'll get back to it. I get back to it. I got to get myself some rest. Like, do what's beneficial, really advocate for yourself, because closed mouths don't get what? Closed mouths don't get fed. No one can read your mind, right? So it's really important for you to really stand on business and communicate that effectively, right? When it comes to micro action, because you know better, you tend to what? You tend to do better, right? So, you know, starting your day, I want you to ask yourself, right? Ask yourself these questions. Really, you know what I mean? Talk to yourself, like I said, compassion, build your self-awareness, right? But really be gentle to yourself, be kind to yourself, because you're the one that's doing all this work, right? You're the one that's showing up. You're the one that's really providing all this effort, right? So what's demanding my energy right now, right? What feels more manageable for me today, and what could wait, right? What couldn't I put on the back burner that, you know what I mean, is not really a priority, really just is taking more of my energy consumption. Really, like I said, break these things down, right? So choose one important task and adjust it if necessary to kind of fit your current circumstance in regards to, like I said, that capacity, instead of forcing yourself to go beyond your measures, right? So like I said, sometimes you may have that energy to kind of push through because, you know what I mean, like, you know yourself, you know the circumstance. Understanding that your capacity allows you to respond with the attention rather than, like I said, that self-criticism, right? So instead of you beating yourself down, overwhelmed, I thought I was able to complete, like, let's really reframe that in regards to a positive mentality, so we're able to, like I said, have an effective approach towards getting things done, right? So just wrapping up this video together, like I said, I really want to take consideration that we got to be intuitive with ourselves. We got to be self-aware, right? And by practicing these things, implementing these things into our world, things will be able to improve over time, right? But you don't need an unlimited emotional capacity to move forward. You don't need to, like I said, keep pushing through. You don't always got to be able to be in a situation where everything can be complete in a day. Good things take time, right? But we got to understand, like I said, you do matter, and you got to understand that you have a crucial part in regards to these obligations, in regards to your capacity, right? So you don't need to everything needs to be done, like I said, in one day. You don't need enough to make the next step, right? You control the steps, right? So like I said, understand your capacity, setting the proper boundaries, taking care of that, you know what I mean, that self-care, right? Getting the adequate rest, make sure you're getting the adequate, you know what I mean, rest and sleep and all things that you need to do that's going to be able to help your health and your wellness, right? By choosing your capacity and doing things that are going to be beneficial for you will be beneficial for you, right? If you found this video good, give it a thumbs up, share if possible, and I'll see you in the next one.